apologetics program where we serve the underserved and look into the overlooked. I got word today that the Hebrew Israelite group known as IUIC decided to go visit several Christian churches and propagate lies and propaganda with some flyers and stuff. And so I said, let's do a show about it. And I'm briefly going to be joined by a guest BK apologist. So let's look into this and tell you what the cults are doing. Interesting stuff. Are y'all ready? Let's get this show started. All right, here we go. All right. Welcome to the program. Can't decide if I want to make that commercial the outro or the intro, but there was the intro. So let's get right into it. I'm joined on the line today for a short time. He's got to go. It's pretty late out there on the East Coast. By BK Apologist. Give it up for BK Apologist in the house. How you doing tonight, brother Alfredo?
Yeah, what's good? What's popping?
All right. I'm very glad you joined. And recently, you've been busy on the channel. You did a great response over there at BK Apologist to this little message that Nathaniel, the leader of IUIC, said, a message to all Christians, where he claimed to go all over the world and debate them and nobody could answer, and said, of course, your pastors are lying to you. You had a great panel and dealt with that. Can you briefly talk about that and tell people how to find that before we get into this? Because that was good.
Yeah, you can find it at BK Apologist. That's the name of the YouTube channel, and the name of the video is a response, a message to Bishop Nathaniel. You know, since it was a message to Christians, to all Christians, well, us and a particular set of Christians decided that we wanted to respond to the message, and we did so, and we broke it down to all those talking points, and I felt like, you know, we said what needed to be said. So,
what are some main takeaways you would bring from that program where you reviewed that message? That is, it's coordinated and they well produced it, and it was short, so it was very shareable, but it's sort of went apologetic level viral, you know. What's the main takeaway? Because I think it gives people a good idea of how this group operates.
well, I mean, to your point, you know, they're probably one of the more polished of the One West derivatives, you know, and they definitely know how to take advantage of social media. You know, they definitely have their own audio visual team. If I'm not mistaken, they kind of have like their own like record label of sorts,
Original
right?
royalty records, yep.
Right, they produce their own music. When they do their live streams, you know, they're using like, you know, DSLR cameras, and you know, they have a graphics department. It's like it's a well-oiled machine. They're very evangelistic. They have like mission teams. They go to different parts of the world. So out of all the One Westers, you know, these guys in that aspect pose the biggest threat because they're just so, you know, professional in their, you know, outreach, at least online. Now in person, I'm sure it's a different story. But the takeaway is, as flashy and as glossy as it is, it's the same old talking points. Like, we didn't break new ground in our response. You know, it was just, I just wanted something on the channel for us to be on record responding to the same talking points. You know, the Deuteronomy 28 and the so-called blacks and Native Americans, and we have to follow the law, statutes, commandments. It's if you know, if you've been following apologetics for the last year and a half, you've heard this before.
Right.
You know, we just wanted to get together and be on record saying, well, this is why we disagree with those points. That's all.
Excellent, excellent. Now, about a year ago, on your channel as well, BK, you did a Resurrection Sunday Easter special, and then you took part of that program, the Bede program, and you clipped it out and had to deal with the claims, you know, the Easter's pagan and whatnot. And I'm glad you're able to join tonight, even if it's only for a short time, because let me give the breakdown real quick here. But before I do, understand one of the main things that IUIC was talking about today is Easter's pagan. What's the breakdown? Flyers very similar to this, except I think I have an older version. I think they have a fancier new version, but the information is essentially the same. They're passing out this stuff. The truth behind Easter. Truth behind Easter.
Mm.
And when I say passing out the stuff, where? Okay. I'm going to talk more about it after you go because I know you can't stay long, but I'll give everyone a short rundown now.
Mm-hmm.
At least at 3 churches that we know of now, IUIC came and tried to hit the people up with the propaganda of all these flyers. And when I say they came, what I mean is, and I might read the account later, I actually got a few messages. They sent scouts out first to the individual churches, and then behind the corner, they had a caravan. And you remember that old song? Every woman, every man,
The caravan of love,
join the
right? Right.
caravan of love. This was a caravan of hate, caravan of lies, right? So they had 10 cars. Now, if you're wondering how I know, it's because I knew some of the people who actually were there doing parking lot work, security work, and that kind of stuff, right? So they told me this pretty quickly. When I was still at church myself, I was getting this because it's from the East Coast, specifically Virginia.
Mm.
And there was multiple churches beside each other in this area. 2 over there, 1 here. So it was an ideal location, and they were larger churches. So the caravan split up into different churches. And I guess there was like about 30 total IUIC troopers, soldiers, that hit all these different churches, telling people Easter's pagan, your pastor's lying to you, come out and join our group. And so I said, okay, we're going to talk a little bit about that, but first let's just deal directly with some of the claims. The idea of Easter being pagan. So I have actually your slides up from your show, so I don't know if you want to bring them up or not. That's up on you. But go ahead, brother. You could talk a little about the actual event if you want, but I want to make sure you can get in some of the Easter pagan stuff before you got to
Right.
go.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I got my slides. I can share from my thing if you want, or you already have specific ones you want me to talk about.
No. I got basically everyone you did. Everyone you did.
Oh, okay.
I got here.
All right.
If that's what you want, let me.
Yeah. Let's go for it.
All right, I'm gonna flip over to this. It's let me fix this around.
Well, while you're doing that, yeah, most of the talking points that people have when it comes to Easter being pagan comes from a source from Alexander Hislop, right? I think it's the two Babylons,
Yeah.
which has been thoroughly debunked for the longest. But if you don't know it's been debunked, it's new to you. So
Yep. Yeah, I actually got that book on the shelf. Okay, so I'm gonna put some of these images up here. So from your show, I just took screenshots and stuff, and you had
okay,
some good stuff. You went directly to the scholars, and so
yes,
I got that right there. Can everyone hear still? Sometimes when I put the pictures up, people can't hear. This is from the Encyclopedia of Easter, Carnival and Lent. Are you able to see it, my friend?
yes, sir.
I don't know if you want to read it or break it down. How you want
Yeah,
to
yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
it? Go
In
ahead.
in Rome, the earliest celebration of Easter on the Sunday following the start of Passover took place around the year 165, which is mid second century. Though other communities may have begun to practice before that time, Christian authorities in Rome became strong advocates for this method of setting a date for Easter, and those communities that looked to Rome for leadership adopted this model. So it started fairly early within the history of the church. So that's what we see here.
That's the
So.
point of that. So,
Mhm.
but the point of that, everyone, is Christians from the very beginning were celebrating the resurrection as far as what they were actually doing. Now, the
Right.
name we'll get into, but understand the actual celebration of the resurrection is an incredibly early practice. The only thing earlier, when I say celebrate the resurrection, I mean annually in a major way. The only thing earlier than that was Sunday worship itself.
Mm.
And that itself, of course, is a form of recognizing and commemorating the resurrection. All right, I got the next slide up, brother.
Yeah, historians still debate when and where the first Easter celebrations took place. The historical evidence uncovered to date suggests that they took place in Asia Minor around the middle of the 2nd century, and that they coincided with the Jewish festival of Passover. Nevertheless, some scholars believe that earlier celebrations may have taken place in other Christian communities. So not only was it early, it also wasn't European either. It was in Asia Minor, right?
So understand that, because they'll a lot of times these groups, when they talk about this, try to make this like it's some kind of European thing, and that's not the
right,
case.
right,
And
not at all.
understand, this is not IUIC scholarship, which, I mean, frankly, only God knows where they get it from. This is actual scholars who do this. I got the next slide up,
Right.
brother.
In 325 AD, Christian leaders from all corners of the globe converged in Nicaea, a small town near Constantinople, now Istanbul, Turkey. The Roman Emperor Constantine convened this gathering known as the Council of Nicaea in order that Christian officials come to an agreement on several important issues concerning Christian doctrine and worship. Constantine issued several pronouncements concerning the proper date of Easter based on the conclusions reached during this series of meetings. The emperor decreed that henceforth all Christians should celebrate Easter on the same date. And the reason why this is important because there's a billion and one memes about what actually occurred
Right.
in the Council of Nicaea, right? Oh, they created Jesus at the council. They
Yeah.
voted to see which book should be in the Bible. Like we actually know what occurred in the council. We have actually eyewitness testimony. We have letters written to each other from the council. We know actually what happened. And one of the things they voted on was what day we should celebrate the resurrection of Christ. Various churches had various dates, and for us to be a more, unified body of believers, they decided to pick on a specific date to celebrate something that's already been celebrated early on in church history. So,
Right. So let me give people a little flavor of this as far as what was going on in regards to Nicaea. And by
mhm.
the way, as you brought out in your show, this is the kind of thing that happened at the Council of Nicaea, not all the crazy stuff people talk about.
Right,
This is
right.
the kind of, it's actually kind of mundane, everybody. You
Yeah,
look at it,
yeah,
kind of,
yeah.
what date? Because, so here's what's going on. You had Antioch and Syrian Christians, for example, and they were doing it the Sunday after the Jews kept the Passover on the first day of the week. That was when they would celebrate what is now called Easter. Obviously, that's an English word. That is not the word they used, right? But understand. In Rome and Alexandria, they celebrated the first full moon after the spring equinox. But since they're in somewhat different places in the world, the spring equinox was different. So in Rome, it'd be March 25th, Alexandria, Egypt, March 21st. So even though they had the same time, it was, as far as when they did it, spring equinox, it ended up being on actual different dates. Do you see? And so there's no uniformity in regards to this, which is because it's not necessarily written in the Bible. Here's the date to celebrate this, but it's an early Christian tradition. But there's great diversity in how the early Christians did it. In Gaul, which is like southern France, they had a fixed date for the death of Christ, March 25th, for the resurrection, March 27th. And then the Montanists, now that's a heretical sect, but just taking note of them. In Asia Minor, they did it the Sunday after April 6th. Now at the end, they wanted some unity, again, like I mentioned, and like BK mentioned. It ended up being essentially each year between March 22nd and April 25th. That's what it ended up being. And so there was a discussion, okay, we're already doing this. This is the point, everyone. They were already doing this. But the question is, on what date, when we do this, should we do this? So I hope everyone understands it. This is part of church history. This is what happened. We have primary sources. We can look into this. And so I just encourage everyone to get their information from good sources. Now, I'm going to go to the next slide, but I feel like we're going to have to do this every year, until we die.
Every
bro.
year, bro. Every year.
Wait, is that already the next thing? Is that the next thing you had? Did I skip a...
You kind of mixed the two.
Did I mix something?
Yeah, you put two together here. Okay, all right now.
Well, you already read that one. The next
Yeah,
thing
this
I had,
Ishtar. That's the popular meme that you see come at, at this time. But you're not switching.
you want to switch to
The next slide.
okay. Yeah, that's the kind of ones you see. What did it go out of order?
No, I don't know. I don't see the other stuff. I think I had something written next to it on this particular slide.
Oh,
There you
well,
go. All right,
okay.
great. So this is from Scientific American. The word Easter does not appear to be derived from Ishtar, but from the German uh, Ostre, the goddess of the dawn, a bringer of light. English and German are in the minority of languages that use a form of the word Easter to mark the holiday. Elsewhere, the observance is framed in Latin, Pescha, which in turn is derived from the Hebrew Pesach, meaning of or associated with Passover. Ishtar and Easter appear to be homophones. They may be pronounced similarly, but have different meanings.
So I hope everyone
So,
understands what a homophone is.
yeah, it's not somebody who's practicing a alternative lifestyle. It's not. It's not that.
And check this out. That's exactly right. I'm going to read a list that I've got here. French, paquets, Romanian, pasti, Portuguese, pascoa, Italian, pasqua, Spanish, pascua, and Ferreusi, I don't know what language that is, paskir, Swedish, pask, Icelandic, paskar, Welsh, pask, Norwegian, paske, Danish, paski, Dutch, passen, Russia, paksha. That is what they refer to it as, and of course in Greek, pasha, because it's essentially a translation of Passover. So in English and German, we're the Anglo-Saxon. That's the like a minority where that's the way it's translated into that language. So the reason why we bring this up is because you got to understand they make a big deal about the English word, but most places
Right.
where this is celebrated, Easter is not the word that's being used. And so
Right.
there's different theories about even how that came to be, meaning what do those words mean and why is that the word that got translated? But here's one thing that every source I've seen that's academic agrees on, and every linguist: Easter is not derived from Ishtar. If
Right.
you believe so, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you have to prove it. You have to show us how you know that, because you will not be able to. You can't show us a meme or tell you if you've heard that before. You've
Right.
got to prove it, because there's no evidence that that's the case.
And not only that, vocab. If you could go back to that meme real quick.
Oh, now you want the meme. Okay, now
Let's
you want the meme. Now you want the meme. I see. Now I got you the meme. I got your meme right here. All right, there's your meme.
right. So not only is Easter not Ishtar, in the academic academy, they still don't know if this is actually Ishtar to begin with.
You mean
Some say it's
the like the
in
figure?
Lulu.
You're saying the figure
Right.
represented?
Right. That figure that you see there, that relief, it's they're still deciding whether or not that is Ishtar. There's certain scholars that believe that it's in Linlu and other Mesopotamian goddesses. So there's not even a consensus about this relief. So not only is Ishtar not Easter, we don't even know if that's even Ishtar to begin with.
Yeah, but
You know,
that's what
so
you end up seeing a lot of times. That's the image that gets shown as
right,
if it's a
exactly,
foregone
exactly,
conclusion. But again, I mean,
right.
folks, tell us how you know. Like it's how do you know that's what it is? Because if the scholars don't know, then how do you know?
Right. So you go next slide.
All right. So again, I'm on the phone, everyone, with BK Apologist, and what we're discussing is some of the claims that IUIC Hebrew Israelites made when they showed up at several churches in the East Coast today, trying to spread lies and propaganda to get people away from Jesus and into Nate. Is this is this the next part in the
Yes,
Scientific
yeah, this is good.
American article? Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Ishtar was the goddess of love and war and sex, as well as protection, fate, childbirth, marriage, and storms. There's some fertility in there, but as with Aphrodite, there is also an element of power. Her cult practiced sacred prostitution, where women waited at a temple and had sex with a stranger in exchange for a divine blessing and money to feed hungry children or pay a debt. Ishtar's symbols were the lion, the morning star, and 8 or 16 pointed stars. Again, symbols of power. No eggs, no bunny rabbits.
You guys understand that? So when they tell you, oh well, it's from Ishtar, and then they talk about the symbols, Ishtar's symbols were not eggs and bunny rabbits. So again, we're looking at sources. This is clearly Scientific American. This is not an apologetic source.
Right,
It's not an
right,
apologetics source. Okay. And by the way, I want to point out something here. Symbol was a lion. That's important because this whole, well, the symbol, it was the symbol of that, this kind of thing. Okay. Well, then the lion of the tribe of Judah, that's a pagan symbol because it was used by Ishtar.
right.
People get off on this stuff, but it's like, yo, this stuff is made by God. He made the triangle. He made the eye. He made the lion. He made the bunny rabbit. He made the egg. It's his.
All of it's his.
He gets to say what it symbolizes. This idea of like it's a one-to-one correlation, like, well, it was that symbol, so therefore it must be that. What? Especially, look at this,
Right,
stars. What has Jesus got going on in, especially the book of Revelation, chapter 1? So, but the point is, I will reiterate, Ishtar has nothing to do with Easter. It's a homophone. It's something that cults do this kind of stuff all the time, where they'll have a word that sounds like something and then tell you, well, that's what it's derived from. And if you're not paying attention, you'll fall for it. But that is why BK Apologist is here today. And that's why I'm bringing them on, and that's why we're talking to you right now. Okay, let me bring up the next one here, brother. Just give me a second.
Sure.
And I think this is the right one. I think we go back to this, or is there something else?
This is good. Yeah, this is good. Most writers assert that it came from the name of an Anglo-Saxon goddess, Eostre. They based this assertion on the writings of a scholarly monk known as Saint Bede. Bede proposed that the Anglo-Saxons, the ancestors of the English people, named the month of April after a pagan goddess. According to Bede, they called it Astora month, after the goddess Estra, also known Eastre, I guess. Bede explained that since the Easter festival fell in the month of the goddess, the people called the festival by the same name. So we now know that Easter does not come from Ishtar. So the claim now is, well, Easter must come from this particular goddess named Eostra or Estre. And the source for that claim comes from this monk by the name of Bede, right? So,
So Venerable Bede, he was an English monk. He was a historian and a theologian in the, you see when he died in the 8th century. And that was what he wrote, saying there was a goddess of the vernal equinox, which is the day in the spring when the sun crosses the equator, and then day and night are of equal length. But it appears Bede may have been making a speculation, perhaps an educated guess. So he was actually raised, my understanding, actually in the monastery. So, smart guy, but also sort of a secluded guy. And here's what's the thing. This is a Sotre. They can't find it. You can't find this god. There's
Right.
a work called Edda by a historian of the time, not a Bede time, but later on, named Snorri Sturluson, who lived 1178 to 1241. This work was considered to be complete on mythology of the day. It mentions no god by that name. But that's not the only thing. We don't have it. And so we're trying to work out what Bede said, because we don't think. Remember, this is not the origin of the festival. Everyone, this is the origin of the name, and it's the name only for English, the Anglo-Saxon people, right?
And actually, vocab, he is the only source,
only one
for the goddess Estray or Estray.
Can't find that goddess anywhere.
He's the only source, right?
Bede is either mistaken or he's talking about something so obscure that no one knows what it is. But again, this isn't Ishtar. So even Bede's speculation, right? Bede's speculation that we can't confirm is not on Ishtar. And he's not talking about the celebration. He's talking about the name. But look, explain that since Easter fell in that month, other goddess, people call the festival the same name. And homie, Inspiring Philosophy brought up a good analogy with the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. If you celebrate the 4th of July, people will say, oh, yeah, the 4th of July. Well, the actual day, what it's supposed to commemorate, Independence Day, declaring independence from Great Britain, has nothing to do with July itself. It's not like we're recognizing Julius Caesar. You see what I'm saying? July. But yet it falls in July, so people say the 4th of July. But it's not as if the celebration has anything to do with the month's name. Do you guys understand? Independence Day happens to be in July. So because of the time of year that it fell, it appears perhaps that's where it got the name, because during that month. And he's saying maybe it's from this goddess, and so they just call it by the same name. But again, no one can find. So Bede might have been wrong.
Yeah.
We're not hating. We're not trying to hate on Bede. We're just saying,
I mean, it was an educated guess.
That's what it sounds like. Oops, I'm going back. Don't worry. We're going to go forward. Mm-hmm. And so now this is less kind of sexy than it's from Ishtar. You're secretly practicing.
Right.
It's the kind of we get that. It's less from because it's no longer a conspiracy theory type thing, right? But I mean, sometimes the truth is like, if you're looking for something, I guess the truth could be, I don't know, less attractive. I mean, not to me, but I'm just saying I can see, people go there, right? They kind of get it. But hold on, I'm having trouble bringing up this next one. I'm going to get it in a second here. But let's see, where did it go? Can you, while I'm finding it, can you talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, so to quickly summarize what's happening here, right? So this concept of Ishtar being Easter, well, that's been debunked, right? They sound vaguely similar, and that's all you have. The symbols are different. There is no bunnies and eggs with Ishtar. There's lions, right? And now we're looking at what could be the name of Easter is this Anglo-Saxon goddess, where we find no evidence of this goddess existing in any ancient literature except for this monk named Bede, who might have just was spitballing when he was writing about about a particular festival that landed on that month that sounds like a story.
Right.
So,
and so we're saying, well, since we know it's not that, let's find out what maybe it is. Okay, next. I got the next slide up, brother.
Right. And here's what we're saying here. Basically, it says they point out that scholars have not found any other mention of Estroy, Eostray in ancient or medieval documents. They believe that this lack of corroborating evidence may mean that Bede, who was raised and educated in a monastery and therefore may not have been conversant with folklore and pagan religious beliefs, was presenting his readers with an educated guess rather than solid facts.
And this is from the Encyclopedia of Easter, Carnival, and Lent. This is the point of this work.
Right.
To discuss stuff like this. And so look, if you don't want to celebrate Resurrection Sunday, if Easter, but don't use bad arguments to do it. Next slide.
Right. So since we can't really go by Bede, they still was trying to figure out, where does this Easter thing come from? This word.
Just the
So it says
word.
here
Again, I want to reiterate,
just the
everyone,
word.
we're not talking
Right.
about the practices of churches on the day. We're talking about just simply the word, because people make a big deal about the word, but they're wrong about the word. Easter is not from Ishtar. You don't get to do that just because something sounds alike. For example, in in German, the word gift means poison.
Mm.
So imagine on your birthday, which is also a pagan according to IUIC, but imagine if
Right.
on your birthday, you get a new Kangol hat, right? And
Right.
you open it and someone's like, "Do you like your gift?" And you're like, "Gift? Are you trying to poison me? You're trying to kill me.
Right.
There's poison. If I put this on, it's gonna seep into the pores on my forehead and kill me." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" Well, gift means poison. In what language? German. But don't you see it's derived from that? So that's really what you're saying.
Right.
Anyways, go ahead, bro.
So it says here they offer several other theories to explain the origin of the word Easter. One proposal suggests that the word Easter comes from Estor, an old Norse word for spring. Another asserts that it comes from an old Germanic and Anglo-Saxon word for east. Early Germanic languages offered many variants of the word for east, which appear to be related to the Anglo-Saxon term for east. These include Estonia, Esten, or Osten. Some researchers argue that the English term Easter has its roots in these old words. So
Right.
again, they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to see where this can land at. You know?
Right. So we don't, for every word that exists in every language that any people use, forget about English, we don't always know the 100% etymology and history of every word. I mean, why would we expect that? It's not always 100% clear. But if that's the case, you don't get to fill in the gaps or fill in the blank with lies. And when IUIC showed up to 3 churches on the East Coast that I know of, at least 3, with 30 members passing out flyers, telling them lies, this is one of the things they were pushing. And you can watch their videos, and this is what they'll push. So some of you, you like this myth. I'm talking about some of you Christians. You like this myth about Easter being from Ishtar because you get to tell other Christians, well, I don't celebrate, it's pagan. And you feel holier and you feel better. But your whole thing is based upon false information. Where's your evidence Easter comes from Ishtar? You ain't got it.
Right.
Because it doesn't. And that's what we're trying to. So you Christians, you're going to have to find another way to be. You Christians that are into this, you got to find another way to be holier than thou, because we're taking this one away.
Basically.
I mean, I'm just saying though. Because you used to be into this, right, BK?
Yeah. I mean, full disclosure, I was one of those dudes.
Yeah.
I was into the two Babylons and Alexander Hislop. I was into it, but I kept reading.
Praise
I kept
God.
reading
Good
and I
job.
kept reaching, and I'm like, you know what? I was wrong.
You went past the memes. All right, what's
I
the
went
next joint?
yes.
What's the next joint here, bro?
All right. Finally, other writers contend that the word Easter arrived in the English language via a mistaken interpretation of a Latin phrase. Early Latin-speaking Christians called the Easter festival, man, how the heck, Hadamalamba Alba, or the
Speaking of
Week of
tongues over
Alps,
here, bro.
Shundo. Anyway,
Tie my bow tie, shut about a Honda, about a Kia.
Shudder Honda. All the Week of Alps, a name that refers to the white robes worn by baptismal candidates during the Easter Virgil and the 8 days following. Although in this context, the word alba serves as the feminine form of albus, meaning white, some thought it was the word alba meaning dawn. According to this theory, Old High German speakers called the festival Estrom or dawn in their own language. The word Estrom evolved into contemporary German Ostern and the English Easter.
And so we see
Again,
there could
theories.
be,
These are theories.
yeah.
These are theories.
But there could have something to do with the rising,
Right.
because you got
Right.
dawn going on. Shout out to
But notice none of this is really talking about any other guy. It's still
right.
words to describe the resurrection.
And so let me show you what's going on. I know everyone's not used to always reading necessarily scholarly sources. Scholars are trained. What they're supposed to do is look at competing interpretations of evidence. If you're in the scholarly field and you don't survey interpretations of the evidence, you're not doing your due diligence. You have to, before you can just put yours forward, you got to look at what are the other ones and why do you not agree, or what are they? Let's say you don't know, you might just survey what's available. That's what's happening there. So I just want to bring that out so people understand. And again, it may not be as romantic as, oh, look, it's pagan. But, this is the truth. And so that's all right. Okay, so let me go to the next one.
Can we
Go.
address one of your people in the chat there real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
H.J. Evan, he says here, so if we avoid the name Easter, suddenly the event is okay? Well, what's the event we're describing?
Yeah, seriously. My goodness.
But anyway.
Yeah, no,
right,
seriously, what is the event? What do you think is happening if when the IUIC came and said, here's a flyer, come to our camp, what do you think those Christians were doing inside of there?
Right. They weren't worshiping Ishtar, I can tell you that.
Right. Now let's talk about the Easter Bunny a little bit.
Sure. How did this delightful creature, known as the Easter Bunny, come to be associated with the holiday? Folklorists cannot give a precise answer to this question.
And I think you might get into this, but when we first see the use of this in English folklore, it's not even a bunny; it's a hare.
Right.
And a hare and a bunny are actually two different things. So this is just the traditions associated with Easter. So we're not saying the bunny and the hare have anything to do with anything in the Bible,
right,
other than the fact God made them both. We're just saying their claims about how they try to get rid of them are false. That's all we're saying. Here, I'm going to let you do this a little bit. I got to take the dog out. Go ahead, bro.
All right. The earliest known reference to the Easter hare in any known historical document comes from a German book printed in the year 1572. Now, let me just stop there. When did Christians start celebrating what's known as Easter? 2nd century. First time we ever hear about a hare, 16th century, right? So this doesn't go back in antiquity at all right? The author writes, do not worry if the bunny escapes you. Should we miss his eggs, then we shall cook the nest. But look at the date.
1572.
Right.
And that's the first. Everyone understand. This is the first mention regarding what is called Easter in English and similar in German, I guess, that we see any mention of the rabbit or the hare.
Yep.
So we are not saying you got to do anything with rabbits and hares. We're just saying the arguments about it's associated with Ishtar are false, and they don't go back to the beginning of the celebration of the resurrection, now called Easter in English.
Yep.
This is important to understand. This is important to understand because you don't want IUIC showing up at your church tricking you. But that's exactly what they'll do if you haven't watched this show or BK's other shows on the subject. Next one.
Yeah, German immigrants brought legends and customs concerning the Easter hare with them to the United States in the 18th century. In the 19th century, straightened by new waves of German immigration, these legends and customs began to seep out into the wider American population. By the 1890s, fashionable sweet shops in the big cities of the eastern United States featured Easter candy in the shape of rabbits. Since Americans in general tend to lump hares and rabbits together, Americans soon converted the German Easter hare into the Easter rabbit and then the Easter bunny.
All right, so this is what actually happened, and notice how recent this is. These are products of American culture. So, again, you may not dig it. We're not saying it has anything to do with Jesus like
Right,
that,
right,
but you can't put it all the way back in old school paganism.
right. And basically, it's more cultural, and then it became commercialized
Right, and that's
as
exactly
opposed
what you
to
saw.
anything spiritual. Right.
Right.
So here we're talking about the eggs now. No one is sure exactly when the exchange of dyed eggs became part of the Easter festival. Nevertheless, folklorists believe they know why colored eggs became a symbol of the holiday. The egg has long served humanity as an emblem of new life. All around the world, Christians eat eggs at Easter. They also decorate them, using a variety of methods to dye them a single color or to cover them with elaborate designs. In some cultures, these decorated Easter eggs are exchanged as gifts, and other people hang them on Easter egg trees. And still others, they become part of Easter egg hunts and various other egg games, including egg rolling, egg tapping, and paste egging. So again, the eggs was just a major part of the culture. It wasn't specifically a religious endeavor to utilize eggs. Eggs is what because it was a portable food that could last long, that you could preserve well, and it was valuable. So, and like what the source said, it represents life, right? But it was a cultural understanding. It wasn't so much a ritual thing. So when Easter comes, and we're talking about the risen Lord, the new life, for them it made sense to convey that with these eggs.
Yeah, and there may be no, they'll say, "Oh, eggs were used in pagan festivals or something like that." I mean, all kinds of food and drink were used in pagan festivals. I mean, there's
Yeah,
more pagans throughout the history of the world than there are Christians or monotheists, right? So,
right.
they're going to do all kinds of things with all kinds of things. Okay.
I mean, the Wiccans, they use water in their
Yeah.
rituals. They use meat,
Mm-hmm.
chicken. So
It
I guess we
happens.
gotta stop eating chicken and steak, right? I guess if that's the case.
It happens. All right, continuing on, talking about the eggs, and I hope everyone understands. We're not saying the eggs are in the Bible. We're not saying they have anything to
Right,
do directly with resurrection. We're just explaining
right,
the cultural trappings, which are give and take, in my view. I think we have to understand Christian liberty. They should be give and take, I think, in everyone's view, unless somehow eggs make you fall. But look,
right, right.
if you don't
And
like the
late,
egg, say you don't like the egg, but don't use bad arguments, IUIC. And Christians don't believe the bad arguments. Go ahead, bro. My bad.
no problem. In
Wait, wait, wait,
late
hey, wait,
medieval
wait.
Europe,
Hey, hey, look. Hold on. I'm so sorry, bro. I'm so sorry.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
Look, someone else is confirming this. They showed up at my church today. We ran them off. Where can I send you the video? I knew it was more than three. I only have three confirmed. I have a feeling
Wow.
this was a concentrated national effort. This is why I wanted to do the show. I know it's late. It took me a while to get some stuff ready, et cetera, et cetera. IUIC showed up at a bunch of Christian churches today with bad arguments. This is like a cheap, easy way to try to get people out of
Mm,
Jesus and into Nate. That's what they're trying to do. And so we're just showing you how their arguments are based upon lies. If you don't like Jesus, say you don't like Jesus, but don't do it because the egg is supposedly a symbol of Ishtar and you think your church is worshiping Ishtar secretly. Send me that video at the Street Apologist at Gmail. War and Worship Apologetics. The Street Apologist at Gmail. If you can't hit me there, ASAP, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, even Twitter DM. Please, I want to see that right away. Go ahead, brother. I had to do that because I knew this was the
no,
case.
that's important. That's important.
Yep.
In late medieval Europe, people paid their clergymen and made donations to their local church in the form of eggs. These egg tithes came due at Easter time. They might also pay their landlord in eggs. These customs can be traced back at least as far as the late 13th century in England. They also existed in the Netherlands, Estonia, and Germany during this era. Germans dubbed this unpopular levy of precious springtime eggs the Ostereck or Easter Rite. So this was a form of currency.
So there's value to
Eggs
them.
were That's how valuable eggs were. It was you could pay people in eggs.
It's kind of funny, right?
Right.
That seems funny to me.
But
Imagine.
again, right, it's always about the cultural It's funny to us because we use dollar bills. If they saw how we use currency, they might think that's funny. You guys using pieces of green paper,
Yeah, at least you can eat
So
the egg, right?
exactly. So this is where the culture was at the time of these festivals.
Someone's gonna go in their church next Sunday and pay in eggs.
Yeah, good luck.
All
Good luck
right,
in that
next
one,
thing,
buddy.
bro.
All right. In some countries, people made these offerings on Good Friday during a ceremony known as the Veneration of the Cross. As they approached the cross, they left baskets of eggs, sometimes accompanied by other foodstuffs such as bacon or grain. Bacon, I know that triggered some people. Uh, documents reveal that this custom was practiced in England and Italy. It began to die out in the 16th century. Folklorists believe that traces of this old practice lingered for centuries in the common folk custom of making the local priest a small gift of eggs at Easter time. Researchers recorded evidence that this custom was still being practiced in parts of France, Hungary, and Italy well into the 12th century. In some places, families sent children to church with great baskets of Easter eggs. The priest blessed the eggs, and the children gave some of them to him in return. Afterward, the children brought the eggs home, and the family placed them as beautifully decorated table, along with other elements of the Easter feast.
So look, we're Protestants,
Hmm.
okay? Orthodox with a small O, classical Christians. So some of
Hmm.
this liturgical stuff, we're not really about or down with, especially if you make the traditions binding. We don't hold. There's a such office today as a priest. That's not valid. Jesus Christ
Right.
priest, he's sitting down. But
Hmm.
what we're doing is going through showing you how this really worked, how it really operated, versus the silly things that a lot of you want to believe. I don't know why a lot of you want to believe this stuff. I have someone right now commenting, "Oh, you're so full of a vocab. I see what IUIC is talking about. Easter's from Ishtar. What is your evidence? You gotta show us. You can't hand us a meme or a video where someone's saying this. That's not a
Right.
scholarly source that doesn't have a primary source in mind or a direct primary source. Come on
Hmm.
now." Oh man. Okay, let me see where we are in this. Let's see. Oh man, I keep on putting up the same ones. I'm losing track. I should have labeled these better. That's my bad. I didn't label these very good. This is a
All
bunch
good.
of bunch of numbers here.
Yeah, we did that already. Yep.
Yeah, okay. Is it? Wait, this ain't it. No, that's definitely not it. Are there more? Did I go through everything? Oh no, I think here's some more. Did I?
We just did this one.
Okay, yeah. Oops, that's not it either. Hold on,
That's
my
not me
bad.
at all. No.
Yeah, my bad. Oh, that's not it.
We did that one. Yep.
I think that's all that I
Let me
got
see.
in
Do I have
regards to
any?
that. What I actually have up, the other thing I was gonna have up is the actual stuff where they were handing out. I don't know if I have any more from what you were doing earlier.
Well, I mean that was pretty much it for that particular segment of the show. But I
Yeah.
will the way I ended that, and I'll say it here is that the issue we're having here when it comes to things like Easter and Christmas, when people are against it, what they're really exposing is that they have a very cheap sense of worship.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean. This is what I mean. If all it takes for me to follow a pagan god is to put a tree in my living room or to have some colored eggs in a basket, then all it takes for me to be a Christian is to wear a cross around my neck.
Yep.
And but nobody would be like, "Oh no, it's Christianity is more than just wearing a cross." Exactly. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like if now we actually do have people who are pagans who worship these pagan gods, and they will tell you that what they do it with intent and purpose. They invite the deity into their lives. They engage the deity. They don't just bump their head, trip and fall. Oops, here's Saturnalia. Like that's not how it works. There's intent and purpose, even with the pagans when they worship their gods. So what you're doing is really exposing how low you consider worship to be.
Yeah,
Wor-
like you mentioned, these folks are trying to trick you to make you think you can accidentally worship a false god.
Right.
Like you don't have to have intent, consciousness, awareness, understanding, purpose. You don't have to have any of that. You're somehow accidentally in contact with a false god. Because of a lack of information and sturdiness and spiritual matters, they're able to play with people's emotions and make them think that, you know.
Yep.
But it's a lie. Look, here's I don't think this is the same person. It looks like, but I see another one. Look at this. They showed up today at my church, OCBF in Dallas.
Wow.
You see this?
Wow.
So they really showed up in carloads with soldiers. And I want to remind you, when I showed up with 3 people at IUIC San Diego, 3 including me, David Wood, John McCrae, and myself. You know what IUIC San Diego did? And I want to explain to you. I didn't go inside. I didn't knock on the door. I didn't go in their parking lot. I parked off to a side street that's not even their parking lot. I was on the public sidewalk in front of the building, so I was in no private space in any way. You know what they did? IUIC San Diego called the police on me. They called the cops. We don't carry weapons. We're not Sakari. We don't even carry sticks. We're not the Watchmen for Israel. The only thing we had was a camera and a Bible, the 2 things IUIC is afraid of in the hands of an apologist. They called the cops on. Yet it's okay for them to come in 10 carloads with their boots and cargo pants and a bunch of flyers about Easter being pagan to churches all across. I'm not saying people should call the cops on them. I don't like snitches, whether they wear purple and gold or suits and ties. And maybe that's just my own background of how I feel. I'm not saying you can never call the cops for anything. I'm not. But this is the second time IUIC's called the cops on me. Another time we were out in the public street and they told the officer I was harassing them just because I was asking them to prove their points to talk to me. Like I'm really gonna harass a group of dudes like that. But they can't handle it. They can't handle it. But yet it's okay for them. So, you know, somebody here, BK, is in the live chat chiding us like we're in someone else's business. I'll read you this comment. When what we're responding to is not the... Rico Brown. Rico Brown. It's funny because you're talking about most of my videos and stop obsessing, yet here you are commenting, vocab, stop obsessing, what black people are doing, and teach your followers to not partake in the dark pride of devils of the European church. This is great. Your followers to not partake in the doctrines and practices of devils that what the European church bring into the faith. Rico, first of all, don't you know Hebrew Israelites aren't only black? Especially here in Phoenix. Lots of Hispanic members. So what are you talking about? Hispanic Native American, although I don't see a whole lot of folks from Gad or Reuben. But look, they're coming to our churches. This isn't us obsessing about what they do. This is them coming to our churches with lies. Now, I think Christians should be ready. So I'm not even whining and complaining. I'm just telling you what's going on, everybody. BK, you want to say anything else, man, before you got to go? I know you.
I mean, again, it's you know, we have never made it an issue about the ethnic claim. The issue we have is that for some Hebrews, when they make an ethnic claim, it's not just an ethnic claim. It is a doctrinal claim. So because you make it a doctrinal claim, now we have to talk about your ethnicity. But not because we are trying to stop the awakening and we don't want black people to know who they are. That's not the case. If you are truly a Hebrew genetically, great. But there's a bunch of apostate Israelites throughout the Bible. That didn't help them one bit. What helped them was pledging allegiance to Christ. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to defend the faith and help everyone to get this gospel so they can pledge allegiance to the true Savior of not only Israel, but of the world.
Amen. That's some good final words right there, brother.
Thank you. All right, man.
Hope you feel better, man.
I will. Thank you, man. This was fun.
Yeah, everyone subscribe to BK's channel. Be sure to check out the shows he did on Easter Resurrection Sunday, man. And again, man, thanks for coming through, bro. Yeah, hope you have a good day, good night, and all that stuff.
All right, man. Peace.
Has anyone sent me any of those videos? If you have, let me know. As far as, IUIC showing up and all that. I'd like to see what we got here. But look, this is the real thing. Now, we're gonna take a little bit of look at some stuff here, because I got some notes I want to further give to y'all. But to reiterate, when I was getting out of service today myself, I got messages about IUIC going to multiple Christian churches trying to recruit people. That's what they're doing when they say, here's the school, here's that. They're trying to recruit people. I'm going to read you a message and change some of the details to protect the innocent, for real. But, let me see here. Yeah. Huh. Where'd the other one go here? Okay. All right, so IUIC sent a couple scouts to this church, just like 2 guys. And so the guy that was doing the perimeter volunteer stuff for the church, he thought that was it, because he talked to them, they left. But then right around the time they were getting letting out, around 1 o'clock, these guys show up at the end of the road. And then about 8 more are coming in, and guess what? They're trying to come onto the property right when traffic is getting let out. So they're impeding the traffic. And they got upset because one of the people that sent me this message, they got upset because they were telling all the congregants, hey, we are not affiliated with this group, because people might think, they're handing them stuff. This is from the church. This is a cult. Jesus died for the sins of sinners, not just their group. So they engage him a little bit vocally, and the Christian guy says, hey, you have to stay over there so you don't impede traffic. And then another gentleman came out, and they had a discussion there. And we are talking 10 cars, about 30 people, and that was just one of the churches. So we know of at least 5, these 3, 2 from the live chat. Okay? And they're in there trying to tell everyone Easter's pagan, da-da-da-da. But I hope you guys understand the truth of the matter. Now, let me look and see what we got going on here. I'm going to look at your comments a little bit here, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Let's take a look at some of your comics here, okay? Yeah, my brother-in-law has been trying to get me since day 1. Someone's asking about the Igbos and the Israeli government. Sorry, you're not really talking about the same thing. Shout out to Mr. Phil Fox. How you doing, brother? How you doing? Hey, what's up, Skull Razor? Thanks for subscribing. Shout out to the best mods of all time, Dinu and Nate. What's up, Sam Miguel? Glad you came out of ICGJC. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, man. And Nicholas says he's done with Easter. Okay, that's fine, just as long as your reasons are good. If you don't want to do Easter egg hunts, it's not in the Bible saying that you have to, And good point. Fresh coat of paint. Good point. Put your comment up there. Let's see. Exactly, Mike. Exactly. If they're coming to people's churches, we got to step up our game. That's why I'm letting people know, Yep, good question, Built for Speed. And it's funny because these folks will use the King James Version of the Bible, right? But does everybody know that the King James Version of the Bible contains the word Easter? Now, look, we're not anti-King James. We understand it has some limitations because of the day and age it was written and things along those lines as far as the translation goes, you know. So we're not hating on it, but we recognize some of the problems in some of the translation, such as Acts 12:4. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. So Acts 12:4 literally uses the word Easter in it, right? Now, how did that happen? I'm going to explain how some of this happened, right? So I got some notes here. I want to give you guys the truth so you know what's going on if you run into these guys or other people, the anti-holiday crowd, you know, that's always out there. What really happened? Well, there was a precedent with Tyndale and Coverdale. Those are English translations of the Bible. And they rendered the Greek word Pascha as Easter. So even though we don't know the exact origin of the word, we know it's not Ishtar. That's a homophone. And that was the word that was used for the Greek word Pascha, was Easter. So Tyndale and Coverdale did this. And there was one remaining time where that was stuck in the AV, the Authorized Version, also known as the King James Version, Acts 12:4. So to King James onlyists who were, you know, hardcore in the KJV, but anti-Easter, you know, they're stuck with this, right? But we understand what it means. Passover. Yeah. I'm going to show you guys something that I think is a helpful verse about some of this discussion. And I wish people would pay attention to it. Can I show you guys this verse? It's from 2 Timothy. This is an important verse. 2 Timothy chapter 2. Because people will get really caught up in this stuff. But look what 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 14 says. Are you ready for this? Okay, here we go. Keep reminding God's people of these things. Now, what things? The Apostle Paul just got done telling Timothy to be a good soldier, a good athlete, a good farmer for Jesus Christ. He uses these metaphors, these analogies, and talks about Jesus, right? About who he is, who will remain faithful. So that's what he wants them to remind him of, you know, especially the things in the previous section, chapter, but the whole letter, of course. But watch what Paul tells Timothy, and I would say us as well. Keep reminding God's people of these things. Warn them before God against quarreling about words. It is of no value and only ruins those who listen. Fascinating. Fascinating. Oh my goodness, don't Hebrews like to love to do that? What's the definition of this? What's the definition of that, right? This goes along with 1 Timothy 1:6. Some have departed from there and have turned to meaningless talk. They want to be teachers of the law, but they do not know what they are talking about or what they so confidently affirm. My goodness, this describes IUIC and the groups like them to a T. So, you know, there is ancient sages. These are ancient wise men or whatever. Maybe they were all Italian wise guys, huh? Just kidding. And they would ridicule the folks that would really quibble over trivial matters. And sometimes they would even accuse sages. Sometimes they would accuse teachers of rhetoricians, of valuing persuasion more than truth. So this is an ancient debate during the Apostle Paul's day in Greco-Roman society. And the sages would criticize the rhetoricians. Brothers and sisters, be like a sage. Tell IUIC not to value persuasiveness over truth. That's exactly what they do with their flyers and the propaganda that they were handing out at churches today. And some Jewish teachers during this time, they would quibble over minute details. They make arguments based upon small, slight changes in spelling or pronunciation. So that's what it's saying. It's not saying you're not allowed to look at the Greek or the Hebrew word. Of course, you know, they would have it right there. But the reason I bring that up is partially because the whole Easter thing, this idea of, oh, Easter, we're going into it just to show it's not true. But don't you see what a waste of time this is? And you're out here telling people that we can basically secretly worship false gods. This is the source of a lot of the madness. Now, Hislop, when he wrote the Two Babylons, it actually has some racist stuff in here. But people won't tell you where the source is from. But let me show you something here, IUIC. You guys love this, right? Because you love one certain definition it gives. Let's look up the definition of Easter. This is not a scholarly dictionary. In fact, it's outdated. But I want to show you something here. Let's read the definition of Easter. Easter, Passover. Rendered Easter in Acts 12:4, KJV, but correctly translated Passover in ASV. That's the Authorized Standard Version. The day on which the church celebrates the resurrection of Jesus Christ. That's exactly what the church is doing. The churches across the world and across the ages have done it in different ways, different times, cultural expressions, traditions. As long as they're not binding, those are fine. Traditions can be helpful. If they're not binding, meaning you put them on people, you force them, or if they're distracting from the gospel, then they become problematic, right? And there's traditions that are cultural things you might do privately that you, or with your family that maybe don't belong in a church setting. You see what I'm saying? And here's the second part of the entry. Easter is celebrated on the first Sunday after the full moon following the vernal equinox, the date of Easter varying between March 22nd and April 25th. That's it. That's basically right. That's it. And that was because at Nicaea, one of the things they discussed was a more uniform date for celebrating this, which Christians have always done. It's the center of what is called the church year. Now, again, Protestants are less liturgical, but I don't think we should hate liturgy. The problem is if it distracts from the gospel or kind of almost gets in the way of the gospel. Liturgy is, structure and order. It's high liturgy, low liturgy. Everyone has some kind of form. But there's more forms prescribed throughout the ages. And one thing's the church year. And it gets all, we celebrate a feast day, this, that. Okay. Again, not biblical. Doesn't have to be wrong per se, but it can be problematic at the same time. But here's a good book about it. The Origins of the Liturgical Year by Talley. The Origins of the Liturgical Year. And it starts off, of course, with the resurrection, Pascha, which is kind of the center of the liturgical year. And even if we don't get all into this, for example, getting into Lent and all that kind of stuff, at least understand something more about it and realize it's not what the anti-holiday crowd often says. And look, man, you guys need to be ready because you might have IUIC showing up at your church spreading lies and rumors with their flyers. Let me see what's going on here. That's not what 2 Timothy 2:14 is saying. Okay, then borrow, what is it saying? What is it saying then? I'll wait for a second. Tell me what it's saying then. What is it saying? Rico Brown says, all this mocking. I mean, you came on here telling me to mind my business, and I never knocked you, so I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Cool, Bob. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, who else's church did they show up? And I want to find out what's up. I wonder if they're going to put any videos of this up, Don't you guys wonder? I want to see if they're going to. I'm just looking through you guys' comments. You guys are funny. My cousin IUIC thinks they are going to take over the world. Well, you know what is interesting? If you look at the image that I used right there on the cover image to this live stream, there's a man in the back of that because this is from the founding of IUIC Virginia. And one of the places I know they crashed, the end of the church service was in Norfolk, Virginia. So I put, this image from the founding of Virginia, Norfolk or whatever. And you go to the back, well, I don't think it started in Norfolk, but, VA camp. And it's kind of small, so I can't tell if it's Marcus or his twin, because Marcus Webb is a strong Christian brother now who even does apologetics. Came out of that mess. It's a beautiful thing. He helped found that camp. I don't know if in the particular picture that's him or his twin brother. It's kind of hard to tell. They're twins, and it's in the back, and they're like identical twins. But Marcus Webb he's out of that mess. He's got a testimony. So I love this picture in a way because it reminds me people leave this madness. This brother Marcus is out, serves Jesus Christ for real now, you know? So let's talk a little bit more about this, right? Let's talk a little bit more about this. And I just want to reiterate some things. So the reason we're talking about this is because IUIC showed up, and one of the main things they're trying to tell people was Easter's pagan, right? Or these flyers they have. You can find it on their website too. But we showed how the whole Ishtar Easter argument's not true. The word itself doesn't determine what is actually happening at the celebration. It's an English word. We know what it really recognizes, which is Resurrection Sunday. But let's play along for a second. What if Easter, the word, actually was derived from the name of a goddess? Let's just say it for a second, okay? Sake of argument. What if Easter was derived from the name of a goddess? Well, guess what? Words evolve over time. So even if it was the case, it's not the case, but even if it was the case, it wouldn't even be that big of a deal because words evolve over time. I have a little booklet here by Ralph Woodrow. He used to be one of these guys. He was a, disciple, so to speak, of Hyssop's work. And he put out a little book called Easter Is It Pagan? And he gives examples in his book of words that used to have one meaning and then they got a different meaning. Tragedy, nightmare, trivia, holiday, romance, honeymoon, bridal, Mrs., Mr., or original, travel, pharmacy, consider, spelling, pamphlet, gymnasium, sophomore, testify. Check that out. So, for example, right? Testify. I'm going to do this one. This one's particularly interesting. The word testify is used in courts and in church services. But this is going to sound kind of weird. Just listen. The word testify was originally linked with the word testes, testicles. Because when taking a solemn oath, a man would place his hand on his groin, and actually in some cases apparently his or another's, as being representative of the life force. So testify comes from, the etymology has to do with testicles, testes. And part of what you do to take the oath, thank God now you can place your hand on a Bible. Back in the day, you had to place it on your package or somebody else's. And apparently this was widespread in ancient times. And it's even mentioned in the Bible. Probably. Because there's places in the Bible where it says, place the hand on the thigh. And the thigh may be a euphemistic way for the Bible to talk about this. Genesis 24, 2-4, Genesis 47, 29. Most likely it's a euphemistic way to refer to this. So it's a cultural practice where you place the hand on the thigh. And that's where the word testify comes from, because you're giving a solemn oath that what you're saying is true. Now, when I say I stand up in church, I'm going to testify, does it have anything to do with my sack? No, it does not. So words change over time. So the point is, look, even if it was the name of the goddess, it wouldn't even be a definitive thing in regards to Easter. Do you guys understand that? And check this out. Secondly, in regards to words, words can be incorrectly labeled. So you can have something labeled something that's actually incorrect. So even if it was the name of a goddess, which it isn't, it could be incorrectly labeled. A great example actually is Indians. The Europeans made a mistake because Columbus made a mistake. Called the native indigenous peoples over here Indians. But by the time it was realized, they just kept the term. It was never corrected in that time. And it was only recent, you had the Cleveland Indians go from now they're the Cleveland Guardians. So people realize that's problematic. Indians? It's incorrectly labeled. If someone said that the Iroquois or the Sioux or the Shawnee the Navajo, the Apache, Blackfoot, Cherokee had something to do with people in India because of the name, they would be wrong. It has nothing to do with them. It's incorrectly labeled. So even if it was the name of goddess Easter, which it's not derived from that, it wouldn't even be a good argument. Shout out to Phil Fox. He gave a great endorsement of the new book. He says, Tribe of Gad in the house. Right on, brother. And check this out. There are words, this is the third thing in regards to this. There are words in languages that actually are based upon pagan gods, but they're not pagan. Did you know that? Did you know there are words that we use that actually are based upon pagan gods, but the word themselves, the actual word, is not pagan? Janitor comes from Janus, the Roman god of doors and gates. Cereal comes from Ceres, the goddess of grains. Panic comes from the god Pan, because he went about scaring people. We call a book of maps an atlas. Comes from Atlas, which is a mythological figure who's supposed to hold up the world for all eternity. Money comes from Juno Moneta, a goddess in whose temple there was a Roman mint that was attached. Capital comes from Jupiter Capitolinus, the temple of the god Jupiter, which stood on the Capitoline Hill in ancient Rome. Cloth comes from Clotho, a daughter of Jupiter and Themis, the goddess that spun the thread of life. Flower comes from goddess Flora, who's the goddess of flowers. Ocean, Oceanus, son of Uranus, the god of the sea. Insomnia, which is sleeplessness, comes from Somnus, who was the god of sleep, who is the father of Morpheus, the god of dreams, and that's where we get the word morphine. There actually are words that the etymology is from some pagan god or goddess, but it doesn't have anything to do with it. Echo, derived from a mountain nymph, whom Juno took away his speech except when spoken to. Luke used the word echoes when he described this sound that would reverberate from heaven as if it was a mighty rushing wind. That's the rushing described in Acts 2:2, ekos. We use the word fury, which is also goes back to these winged deities that went about inflicting people. Circle, which some people link it, it's a mythological sources who supposedly turn people to swine. Muses has to do with Zeus, and yet we get that with museum and music. Hymn, another Greek god of marriage. Siren, you know about the sirens, and yet we use it in an ambulance, police car, right? But it has to do with these mythological sirens who had this shrill singing that would lure sailors to shipwreck and death. Thunder relates to Thunor, which is related to Thor, which is also related to Thursday, which is Thor's day. Has nothing to do with it, though. Fair weather, in Greek, that Greek word is used in Matthew 16:2 and is related to the Greeks with Zeus, the god of weather. Corinth, Ephesus, more. Amazon, Marshall, from the god Mars. Milky Way, another. And the list goes on and on and on. And in Job, there's the Pleiades, the Orion, Mazzaroth, Arcturus, all mentioned there. What if you drive a Mercury? What if you drive a Thunderbird? Pagan! What if you ride the train? What if you ride on the train the California Zephyr? Pagan! Sunday, Monday, Moon Day. Okay, Wednesday, Woden's Day. Thursday, Thursday, Friday, Frigg's Day, Saturday, Saturn's Day. Blah 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 blah. Even if it was, it wouldn't be a good argument. I hope people understand this. And we also need to understand, as I brought up earlier, that words vary in meaning from one language to the other. So just because gift in German means poison, it doesn't mean if I give you a gift that I'm giving you poison. But the thing is, it's not even related to that anyway. Do you guys understand? I got more in my notes, so I'm not going to go on and on and on. I know we're going to have to revisit this, but look, let me just tell you, when you look at what Hislop brought out, it's not good, and that's why no one uses this. there's old myths passed around, and now IUIC is passing around the same myths, and they're showing up at churches. 5 that we've got confirmed, 3 that I knew of before the show, and then 2 now during the show. So this is clearly a concentrated effort church. They're coming for you. They're aggressive. They're assertive. They're after you, church. Block Terrence Scott. He's a liar. I'm unlimited patience tonight, and with the Sakari fanboys, like clearly Terrence Scott must be, I'm tired of how they'll lie. You know what the latest lie is? Now you're getting me off of IUIC, which is what I need to talk about. The latest lie is that I refer to Black Jesus Minister as colored. In fact, colored boy. They went into the live chat during his debate with Sa Netta and created a vocab Malone fake YouTube avatar and put that in the live chat that I was saying it. And then Sakari was passing it around, circling it, saying it was true. It took one guy who was not even on Team Vocab, if you will, who simply went to the YouTube profile and said, this is clearly a troll account. This account only has 1 subscriber. Now, I wish the subscriptions were public because we should find out who that was. Yeah, so they're out there doing that. Instead of dealing with arguments, they literally will make applies. Now, whoever in Sakari made that fake account up to say that, they knew it. And some other people knew it too. They don't care because they don't care about truth. They care about destruction of people that stand. It's clearly cultic, man. And so, you know, you got Terrence on here spreading a different lie that's been dealt with 1,000 times. I'm just good. Pass on that. When I say block, I mean block. I don't mean timeout. I mean block. Because it's just what's up with the lies, man. And IUIC will spread lies too, and they might do so at your local church. So everyone needs to be aware of that. Everyone needs to be aware of that. This is what they are doing, okay? So, there's more I want to go over, but let's do this here. Let us see if we can share the screen, and let's take a look at what's going on with IUIC Virginia. Let's take a look here at their how about at their Twitter page? This is fascinating here. Yeah. I want to show you what kind of group we got going on. I want to show you this here. Let's take a look here. You guys ready? I'm gonna flip over here. We're gonna take a look right now at IUIC Virginia, because that's one of the camps we know did this. Showed up, crashed. You know, I mean, it was after the service was over, so crash probably isn't the exact right word. But showed up at the end of church services and try to give them their stuff. So here's the IUIC Virginia Twitter account, and I want to show you how weird this stuff is, man. This is a cultic religion. All right, there. I'm gonna follow them right now. They'll probably block me. I just started following them. So they're led by Officer Noah. There's where they are. All right, so this was just posted 20 minutes ago. So someone's up right now at the IUIC VA count. And look how they lionize their leaders. Really bizarre stuff. And you haven't even seen the weirdest of it. I'm going to show you some strange stuff on here. Okay, I want you to see some of this strange stuff, man. It's 100% cultic, right? This is what they want you to leave the Christian church to come to this. This is what they want. You see this? Bro. I'm gonna click on this, okay? Yo, what is this? Hey, this is IUIC Virginia. Now, it's talking about a harvest. Why does dude got a big old machete with blood? I bet someone's gonna say, "Oh, that's fruit. That's fruit on there. That's not machete. That's not blood." Or don't you know, vocab? He's trying to paint us with a picture. We're not representing anything. Hold on, let me try to make this smaller here. Why isn't it making it smaller? There we go. I want you guys to be able to see this. This is how bizarre this cult is. Don't tell me IUIC is not a cult. And don't tell me we shouldn't be concerned about them taking people away. This isn't another church denomination. This isn't joining the Lutherans. This is joining a straight up cult. You do not want to join this. This will put your very soul in jeopardy and in danger. When the harvest is right, bro, why you got a big old bloody machete like that? Let me say that, because they're probably going to block me pretty soon. The dude's got the UFO behind him. That's because these dudes believe in black angels flying UFOs, man. This is a cult, man. Look at this joint. The harvest is ripe with blood all over it. I thought IUIC didn't get down that way. You always told us you're not a hate group. What's this all about, man? Come on now. Yo. How many of those were? Well, there's just 3 images. It looks like there were just 3. All right, back to the page. I'm gonna make it. Yeah, look, here's these dudes who are in Japan, man. I know they're not there for the Ammonites, as they would say, right? Can't be for the Ammonites. They got to try to find the Jakes. Look at this. The church is sitting around twiddling his thumb, and IUIC is out in Japan. This is the VA page. That's the VA page. Wait, why did okay. Hold on, I need to make sure. I need to get back on. Okay. So why are we looking at the IUIC VA Twitter specifically? Because that's the main group we know that was out there today. This is all from today, all this Twitter activity. Do you notice that? This is all from just today. All from just today. Just today, this is them. This is 3 hours ago. Again, now this guy's a Phoenix guy. I know this guy. Because that's the Phoenix camp right there. Look at all the UFO imagery. Man, I'm just showing you how cultic it is, man. You trying to join this thing? Okay. Again, this is still all from today. Now we're at 5 hours. Still 5 hours here. Your whack Sunday pastors are slack. The wolves in sheep's clothing are your every Sunday pastors. Bro, the wolves in sheep clothing are you, IUIC. Now, the thing is, though, almost everybody they have on here is whack. I can't see everybody, but almost everybody kind of is. So, I mean, Justin Peterson, takes care of them. But it's like the cult, they can't help. ASL edition. They're doing sign language now? That's new to me. I didn't even know that. Okay. All work, no talk. Well, you show up to Christian church trying to talk, but you don't talk when I come up to you. Help us reach 15. This is all for today. This is 8 hours ago. Everything I'm showing on the Twitter is still from today. I've seen that guy in multiple videos with the shiny Bible. Yep. Just going through it real quick. Why'd they get that Haitian blue eyes? I don't know what's going on there. Never give up. That's Elder Nathaniel on his elaborate dress. Check this out, man. Bishop Nathaniel has been a father to many and a shepherd to a nation. You can hate him all you want. It only brings more blessings his way. Is this not... This is all common cultic stuff, man. The lionization, the romanticization. He's a father and a leader to a nation. There you go. Easter's pagan. Tupasco es pagana. So that's the kind of stuff they were passing out, right? An austere man. Hold on. An austere man is a Christ-like man. Come, join IUIC. Bishop Nathaniel will be your daddy. He's a father, right? He's a father and a shepherd, right? Oh, boy, yeah. Look at this. Support the troops. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, they might be sending troops to your church. Troops. Why do the troops call the cops then, man? Help us spread the gospel. What gospel? Gospel? These dudes are doing mission trips, spreading hate, lies, and bigotry, man. No place is too far. It's called to dedicated, bro. Teach for God's cause, not for applause. I guess Nathaniel's spitting in bars now. 15 minutes with the captains. Look, I don't know if you know, but they have their own streaming service now. Do you notice the little logos in the bottom? Apple TV, Roku, you can download the app in the App Store, Fire TV. They have their own streaming service now. Bro, look at these dudes. Do you notice that kind of uses the Avenger like logo symbol, right? Now look at this. Bro, the principal men back on Earth. Now I thought they didn't believe in reincarnation, but maybe I think they do believe in reincarnation. Because to say back on Earth is kind of odd. But look how they gave homie the Thanos glove. You know, shout out to IUIC for keeping it real, recognizing they're the villains in the story, trying to get rid of half the Earth. You know? And look at the UFO in the back again. The UFO shining down on the truck. What is that? Is that from Close Encounters of the Third Kind? When these dudes try to come after you for copyright. But check it out. Oh yeah, this is a reincarnation post. Today, 6 p.m., Deacon picks up where Bishop Kanai leaves off. Grab your Bibles and pens. The Principal Men Back on Earth Part 2, showing how these spirits of old have returned. Now, here's what's funny, man. IUIC wants to go to your church and pass out a flyer saying you're doing something pagan because Easter comes from Ishtar, even though it doesn't. And yet, they're promoting out-and-out paganism, which is reincarnation. Just going through IUIC's Twitter till they block me. Just checking out. This is what you would be joining. And this is specifically IUIC Virginia, because they're the ones who decided to crash the party, right? Principal Men. 15 minutes can save your life. That's the helicopter sound. The spirit of a whoremonger spotted from a mile away. It looks like one of those old early 2000s Master P movies with the style there. I mean, it's interesting stuff, right? The graphic designers know how to do bold stuff, right? No doubt about that. Just going through IUIC Virginia. This is what you would get if you joined up there. Just want to see what you guys think of this, right? Starting to repeat, but you know, that's part of, so they know what they're doing. That's social media, right? The drip of Benjamin. Deacon Asaph. This dude, man, he does a Friday night show. This dude cannot stop talking about vocab. I get messages all the time about this dude. That vocab all the time, man. Okay, so just repeating material there. There's something else I wanted to show you guys. I can't remember where it is now, because this is just all repeat now on the stuff. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's good. Look, after God executed judgment upon all the idol gods of Egypt, his people walked to the Red Sea to salvation. It'll be the same once again from spiritual Egypt. Do you understand what he's saying? The UFOs are going to kill America. That's what they're saying. IUIC is not a hate group. You know, they're not about hate. Because you understand, it's not kill America. It's kill people of the wrong ethnicity who live in America. Man, that drawing. Okay. Interesting there. I can't stop looking at this stuff at this point, even though it's clearly repeating itself. Oh, wait. Oh, this shattered glass. Okay. All work, no talk. What do we got? Okay. I'm going to stop. How can you believe in God and not the Bible? It's hard to... Don't you want to just keep on looking through it? I know I'm going to get blocked. Oh, Virginia is promoting Columbus. Because, you know, Columbus, that's my spot. That's the hometown. So I specifically care about Columbus, Ohio. Okay, let me just stop there for now and flip over, you know, right here. So to reiterate, IUIC showed up. They're going to show up to other events. They're going to have flyers. They're going to be organized. And most of us are not ready. And so you need to understand what's up. And so I just wanted to go through a little bit at the end there. They're IUIC Virginia, because we know they went to 3 churches at least, and they had it all planned out. They knew when the churches would be letting out and everything. 30 dudes in 10 cars, okay, showing up. And that's only, since we started this show, since we started this live stream, we've got confirmation of Dallas and another place. And someone's going to be sending me a video. So we went through some of the claims. We didn't get to deal with every claim about Easter and the pagan and all that. We went through some stuff, but I just wanted you guys to see that. So now you guys know what's up. Hey, shout out to Connor, man. It's been a minute, bro. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And you got to understand, man, this is not going to stop anytime soon. Okay? This is not going to stop anytime soon. So, you know, we can have fun doing this, but at the same time realize this is a serious issue. And we need to pay attention to the issues of our day. So people who have bought my book or books or support me on Patreon or through any other way, I got a little banner thing up there now. It shows you what you can do. Appreciate it. And we need more of that. But understand, we are greatly outnumbered. So come be part of the underdog in the fight. Because these groups are raising a lot of money and putting a lot of resources behind, right? And unfortunately, IUIC is right that there are a lot of wolves in sheep clothing. And I don't mean men who fall or make a mistake. I'm talking about people just straight up out to bilk the church, legit con artists. That exists. But regardless of all of that, it doesn't make IUIC right. There's still a cult leading people astray into unsound doctrine. Let's give something for the haters to not like. Let's end with the freestyle. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. An average dude, not a superstar. Easter don't come from Ishtar. About 10 cars, there they are. Coming to your parking lot, not very far. Yes, y'all, freestyle with the verses. They'd hit up 5 churches, plus everybody, even the nurses, trying to get you to open your purses or your wallet. Can't call it vocab alone, it's late. I'm not an alcoholic, but I got the drunken style. Check it out now, it's versatile. Been a while freestyle. When I kick it, I rip it. Not whack like some group Limp Biscuit. Okay, who is it? Just like a frog, I ribbit the dialogue. No hog. IUI says, they say, peep this out now today, Sunday. Praise Yahweh during resurrection. They came for an insurrection. Check them, they got their flyer. But IUIC filled with liars. Not a prophet like Jeremiah. They all cracked out like Richard Pryor. Yes, y'all in a wheelchair. Go to the church Sunday, I'm still there. Next week, I freak the beat with its vocab alone. It's so unique. Okay, I speak from the top of the lung. Jesus the Christ, you know that he rung my bell. Yes, well, now I'm saved from hell. Will I go during Easter and the first Noel? That's the Advent. Yes, indeed, I read the flyer. Okay, rip it up with speed. Screed is what it is. It's like a rant, but Jesus the Christ, you know he's the champ. So I'm getting amped, I'm vamped on a mission. They are coming after Christians. Listen, Nate, he sent his henchmen. Check it out, though, the gospel. The gospel, it is the linchpin. They got a wish list, it's vicious, delicious. They put you on the menu. They are sinful, that's what men do. Hit the next church, to them it's a new venue. IUIC, I see you. I see you, you need the IUICBM because you're waiting on them. But you spit venom to the men and women. And in the meantime, you say gentlemen and ladies. Nate probably got a Mercedes. But if you die, you're going to Hades. Even though you don't believe in it, open up your mind, be receiving it. I'm spitting just for a little bit, and your gospel's bit, it's a counterfeit. It's illegitimate, it's not legit. I spit, I rip, I hit like a baseball bat. I rip like the pine tar, here I come. I see those cars and I put them on the run. Cause when I come through, these liars shut down their whole amplifier. Prophesier, sound doctrine. Nah-uh, itching ears, you Watchmen here to Austin, to Boston, we tossin', rock the microphone. You know that they're flossing, the purple and gold, but the style is old. They think they're reincarnated souls of old, but they're wrong. This is the end of the song. Vocabulary, rock it on and on. We are out, no doubt. Give a shout out to the chat. Vocab Malone with the ill black cat, and that's that.